All right. So, how long ago did you sign up for the program?
Yeah, it was about, oh, that's a good question. I think it was like toward the beginning of March, like
That
first or
sounds
second week
right.
of March, something like that.
Yeah, that sounds right. I thought I remember booking a call with you sometime like late February. Yeah, it's been a few months now. Thanks for hopping on here and just being willing to provide some feedback. I'm just going to ask you a few questions and see what you thought about the program. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate what all you learned from the program?
Oh, 10 easily. So I was starting from a location of having a little bit of background information on fitness and things like that. I'm, very active in the gym, all that stuff. And it's not that I was undisciplined with food, but I think I had a few misconceptions of what I needed to do with food in regards to, me being active and trying to just overall be healthy. I call it, it was a lot of the bro science stuff, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You need to eat a ton of food, like all the time. You need to get strong. And as long as it's like good, healthy food, the amount of body fat I gained, but I was usually in a calorie surplus. So I gained weight. So when I first started this, I was about 227 roundabout. And also, pandemic, gyms being closed for a long time didn't help.
Yeah.
And also my wife had just given birth. And then also I tore my ACL like 6 to 9 months before that. So I had a
I
lot of
do
things working
remember
against
that.
me. Yeah, so I had gained a little bit of weight and I wasn't able to really get into the gym or even work out very much. So I got into about 227. I actually weighed myself just yesterday. I weighed 210. And I
Wow.
know we last chatted like 1-2 weeks ago. And
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
that point I was at like 212. So even since then it's really continued. So in a little over 2 months I've lost about 17 pounds. It's been fantastic and it's been sustainable. That's the thing. It turns out that when you're eating like good food, being in a calorie even like a slight calorie deficit is not bad. Yeah, like I don't go hungry. That's one of the big things I found out because I had been in calorie deficits before, but I couldn't really stick with it just because I wasn't eating the correct food. I wasn't eating good food. So it turned out that I wasn't eating a ton of, just volume wise, not eating a ton of food. So I was hungry and then I'm like, I'll just kind of eat whatever I want. But
And
when
I
you eat
think
good food for you, you stay full.
Yeah, I think that's especially important for a guy like you. First off, the pace at which you're losing weight or the pace at which you lost weight, that's a good pace. I think a lot of times when it comes to weight loss, people have this unrealistic expectation of losing weight really quickly or how do I make the fastest progress ever. I think it's good to make pretty quick progress because when you have that proof of what you're doing is working, that kind of motivates you to keep going. And when you get that quick progress, it's like you see the proof that what you're doing is working and you're going to keep going. And just you kind of having like a fundamental level on working out and going to the gym and stuff, usually people have some kind of understanding of nutrition. So to be able to master both of those things, I think in terms of the rate at which you've gotten results, that's awesome.
The beauty of it is that like it wasn't necessarily too much of a stretch for me, but if I was in the shoes of somebody who maybe doesn't have that history of trying to eat well, it doesn't have that history of working out, staying active, things of that nature, the way everything is presented, I don't think it would have been a problem, in that scenario either, just because a lot of the information is pretty cut and dry. It's stuff that a lot of people just generally don't know, but it's nothing that's like too incredibly complicated that people of different activity levels or fitness levels or anything like that can't get on board and just like apply it right away. It's very universally applicable.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of information in it's like this crossover between nutrition and biohacking, where people start talking about all these complicated metabolic pathways that you can activate and stuff by doing this or that. And it's just like techno babble to people. But yeah, that's cool. So, what do you think has been the most impactful part of the program for you?
Well, I know for me, a big one was, and anybody who hops on board and goes through the program. It's the refeed day. That was a big shift in thinking. That was a pretty big impact for me. It's kind of the similar when you hear people talk about the cheat day all the time. It's kind of like that, but it's a better version of that and it's a more sustainable version of that, and it's something that just helps you not snowball into bad eating, because that's what I would do. I'd have a cheat day and one cheat day turned into 2 cheat days and turned into three and then all of a sudden I'm off the rails. So that's something that was a big help for me, is figuring out how to, one, satiate that, because I mean we like good food. We like food that is quote unquote not the greatest for us, but there's a proper way to do it. So one, we like to have that sort of be satiated like that. Then also it's actually having a day like that or having a meal like that is super important for your weight loss journey. You actually do need that meal or that day. So that was something that was super impactful for me. A lot of the information just on the food that you're putting into your body, exactly what it does, and some of the things that people in the bro science world will tell you is BS about certain types of food. What types of food are good for you versus aren't so good. There's a lot of misconceptions there that some of these guys are telling you it's not exactly the case. And then also the impact of sleep. I'm a late night guy. Admittedly, I stay up late, I wake up early, and they really just drilling the importance of good sleep can't be understated. So I'm still working on that one a little bit, but I'm definitely a lot better at getting sleep. And as I've gotten more sleep, I've noticed that on the days where I get a good, healthy amount of sleep, the next day in the gym, I feel a lot more refreshed. I don't feel as tired. The workout's overall better. I don't feel as sore after the workout, that kind of thing. So the sleep portion of the program was definitely an eye opener for sure. That's just a few of them. Just overall, though, everything put into practice is just like building bricks, and after a while, you have a building.
That's awesome, dude. The reason I don't really like cheat days is because it creates this very unhealthy relationship with food. When I started losing weight and stuff, I would go pretty much the whole week, do good, stick to my nutrition plan and stuff. And then the weekend would come and I'd just fall into this cycle of eating a ton of food or like drinking a lot or something like that, and falling into unhealthy eating patterns. And it's like that whole week that I just spent being good, it was wasted. And it makes a bigger impact than people realize. Having a cheat day and just eating whatever you want, you can easily put away thousands of calories in one sitting, and people don't realize that. You can undo all of your progress in 1 week easily with a cheat day. So that's why I don't like the idea of cheat days, and that's why I do call them higher calorie days or refeed days or whatever. It's good to know how to incorporate a day or even just a meal like that into your routine. The more you lean down and the leaner you get, the harder it is to lose weight. So it's especially important the more progress you make. You can't have cheat days if you want to really lean down nicely. And then the whole thing with the sleep and stuff, it's just all part of the cycle of eating enough food, eating a properly balanced macro split, but you also need to sleep well. You want to work out and train, but you don't want to overtrain and stuff like that. All of that is going to play into regulating your hormones well, and your hormones dictate everything. It's going to dictate how you feel, how hungry you are, how well you sleep, your sex drive, even how you feel as a whole. It's all part of the equation. So that is one thing that I don't really publicly advertise it, but I do talk about sleep in the program because it's super important. And last but not least, the last question I have for you is, would you recommend the program to other people?
Oh yeah, easily. It goes back to it's universally applicable to people of all different activity levels, fitness levels, because a lot of it is based specifically on just sort of how the body works. It's just a matter of fact. Obviously, some people's bodies will work differently than others, but the core functions of the human body, whether it's me or you or somebody else, our bodies overall work the same. All of it runs off of the fuel that we put into it. People sometimes overthink it a little bit of, okay, well, this person did this fitness wise and food wise, but I'm at this level. It's not comparing apples and oranges. I mean, it's something that all of us need to put good food in us. We're all human beings. That's just a fact of life. There are some people that have crazy high metabolisms. Other people have lower metabolisms, but luckily that's a big excuse that I hear all the time. But also, you can influence your metabolism as well. Classically, I have a very slow metabolism, like really slow. Over the past several years, and then especially now after this program, I can tell that my metabolism is a lot more healthier. I'm burning fat better. I did have a weekend. My birthday was recently. I had a weekend where I actually did kind of have 2 days where, just in celebrations, I did have more food than normal, and it wasn't the greatest food in the world. It wasn't like all out cheat days or anything like that, but there are some kind of bigger meals and foods that may not be as good for you. It's kind of a fun weekend. I maybe overindulged a little bit. Before the weekend, I weighed myself. I was 213. And after the weekend, I went to the gym. I'm like kind of dreading stepping on the scale. I'm like, man, I'm going to be heavier. I was half a pound lighter. So like, if you can get your you can influence your metabolism. It takes time. Like, it's not going to be like an overnight thing. I feel like it'd be a problem if you could influence your metabolism overnight. That'd probably be probably pretty
Yeah,
bad
that'd
for
be
you.
bad.
But like, it's that kind of thing. People have these misconceptions about what their body can do and can't do. To an extent, some of them may be true, but there are also a lot of them where I don't think you're realizing what your body's capable of. This program definitely helped me realize, I can influence my metabolism. I could always gain weight pretty good. I could gain muscle pretty good, but losing body fat was always the sticking point I couldn't quite nail down. This is something that helped me nail it down finally after 30 years of my life.
Yeah. And I think it's kind of a classical message, or at least it's becoming a more popular message, that you need a very specific nutrition protocol in order to lose weight successfully. No, you don't. You're a human being just like any other human being on planet Earth. But the reason that is a good thing is because if it works for me and it works for you, it'll
work
work
for
for anyone if you follow the fundamentals, if you know what is important and what is not. It can feel like kind of a hard pill to swallow that you're just like anyone else. Your body works just like anyone else, but that's a good thing, because if you just do the fundamentals and the things that matter, you will get results. Like factually, you will get results because you're not an exception.
Yeah, I'm about as average. Like, I have a 2-year-old. I work standard 8 to 5 job, office job, where I'm not exactly the most active in the world. So I'm probably about as average a situation activity wise as you can get, just in terms of like day to day and how my day goes. So if I can do it, I feel like I'm a pretty good litmus test for if it's doable. I can do it. It's pretty easy for me now. I'm in a rhythm. Once you get into that rhythm, it's so easy. It really is.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate you taking some time to chat about things and just your experience and stuff. I'm glad it's helped you out a lot. Appreciate your time. Thanks a lot for
Anytime.
hopping on here with me.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You bet.